make sure that the picture that I need is in the frame, and then I can come and sit down. I'm not going to be monitoring this morning. I just want to go ahead and get it up. You noticed I wore that other hat the other day. Yeah, it kind of fit that occasion. I said I had another hat, and that's this one here that you see me wearing now. And this one brings up some consternation too, because of the things that I've talked about with Christianity and all of that. Basically, the Abrahamic religions, how they've been corrupted almost beyond recognition. Actually, all of them have been corrupted beyond all recognition. In my view, there are people that would be vehemently opposed to that point of view, but I didn't arrive here overnight. It's taken actually many decades of dedicated study and intense personal reflection to be able to admit that to myself, and I've often wondered whether I should share that information or not. So let's hope that this is going up correctly. This isn't going to be long. I'm not going to be reading a whole lot of things. I've decided to go ahead and bring this up and see if I can find out if in fact it's going up. I wasn't going to do this, but I think I'll just go ahead and do it. Yeah, it shows that we're live right now. So let's see if that's the case. And if it's going to, yeah, good. Okay. So it looks like it's all right. The camera's a little low. Let me raise it a little bit. Sorry, I'm going to do this, but I'm going to have to raise it just a little bit. Just let's see how that works. See if that's any better. Because of the way I have to do this, I have to adjust on the fly. Yeah, that's a lot better. That's a lot better. Okay. So a little background. About 2 years ago, maybe, I did a YouTube video on the Thanksgiving hymns, or the Thanksgiving Psalms. They've been known both ways, in the Dead Sea Scrolls. Now, these writings are not the same. They're not the same as the biblical Psalms. They are independent of those, and they have nothing to do, there are scholars that will disagree with that, but they have nothing to do with the Psalms in the Bible, okay, your book of Psalms. They have nothing to do with that. As I maintain in my original YouTube video, I believe, well, first of all, scholars will say that, well, it looks like this was these Psalms, these Thanksgiving hymns were written by the Moreh HaZedek. That's the teacher of righteousness of the Qumran community. And that's because they really don't have anybody else to point to. And as I mentioned in my book, The Crimson Thread, I don't think that position of the Moreh HaZedek, the teacher of righteousness, was just one sole person that began the whole Qumranian community. I believe it was a position that was passed down. Whether that is true or not, regardless, these Thanksgiving hymns were included in the Dead Sea Scrolls. Now, the Qumranians, who most people will say are the Essenes, and in all likelihood that's the case, included other writings. They didn't just include the Jewish Torah or, writings like that from the Tanakh. They didn't just include that. They also included other writings, even some Samaritan ones. As a matter of fact, some of the Dead Sea Scrolls are very obviously Samaritan in origin. So there's a big question as to what was really going on there. And my position is that the person that you know as Jesus Christ was one of these individuals who the Qumranians had some respect for, may not have fully accepted him. There's some questions about that because of the way the stories have been written. But regardless, they included what this man wrote down, be he the Moreh HaZedek or some independent man who, because it talks about him being alone, that he's been rejected even by his own people. Doesn't that sound familiar? So I put this video up on YouTube, and guess what? Like so many of my other videos, YouTube removed it, saying it violated their terms of service. Why would that be? This is coffee, by the way. Well, the reason is because it goes against the claimed historical narrative. What this information does is it really deconstructs both the Judaic and Christian architecture, and it also, to some extent, does the same to Islam. So I think YouTube looked at this and said, we don't need this up, and they took it down, and they might take this one down. I've had like 100 videos removed from my YouTube channel. So they might say this one is just a repeat of the one that we took down before, and this one's going to be gone too. So how long it will be up, I do not know. So you might want to copy it, because I've got some links here that are in the description box. Very important. Those links in the description box are what I'm talking about. One of them is from Wikipedia, and I know people say, you shouldn't use Wikipedia. The only reason why I included that is because it gives a general rundown of what these things are, or what they say they are, okay? So for that reason, it has some value, and it gives some references in there. But then the second link actually goes to the material itself, with a short explanation by the person who translated these things. Now, I better explain the hat before I go any further. So this hat, I decided more than the other one is going to be the one that when I go into the public for any reason, to give a speech, to just partake in whatever the event is, it'll say something. And what it says is, of course, on the surface is, of course, Christian values. The cross was actually the symbol of ancient Israel. It was not the Star of David, despite what people try to say. Star of David was something else entirely, and there are all kinds of people who talk about the Star of Remphan and those things. But it really didn't appear in Judaica until about the medieval period, a little earlier than that. But that's really when it showed up, and it has other connotations, which, again, I'm not going into here. My point is, the cross was the original design, original symbol of Israel, and what it really is the letter Tav, which is a cross, and it means basically the end. It means the end of all things. It means part of the name Alpha and Omega. As I've explained before, Alpha and Omega is the beginning and the end. The New Testament talks about that in Revelation, identifies who that is. and again, I have a lot of questions about all of the scriptures, but some things slip through because you have to tell a little bit of the truth, or a lot of the truth, to get through the one lie that you're trying to get past. So that's, I think, part of it. But people want to hold the Bible as totally the Word of God, and I refute that 100%, as those who follow me know. That doesn't mean that there isn't truth in there, but it's been overwritten and obfuscated to some extent. So that's the reason why I go with the cross, because it really is the symbol of everything that we think is good. And I'm not talking about the sacrifices and all of the busybody commandments, all of the 113 mitzvot that even the Tanakh itself says were probably not added by God, but by men. Okay, those were legalese added probably during the time of during or after the Babylonian captivity, and certainly by the Hasmonean dynasty, which is the same time that the books of Ezekiel and Daniel show up. Okay, so there's all kinds of historical questions, but that's one reason why I wear the cross. Now the other reason is, as I said, because it represents the letter Tav. Now the cross pistols, that is, for my old Army branch, the Military Police Corps. I'm not trying to say that. What I'm using them for is actually in support of the Second Amendment. So we have our duty to God, and we have our duty to the Bill of Rights, which if we don't exercise, that's what it means by responsibility, your ability to respond. We have to exercise our rights in order to keep them. What you don't use, you lose, right? Very true. And of course, even Trump's on that train right now of anti Second Amendment, anti First Amendment, anti Fourth Amendment. Yes, I want to do away with the criminals and the illegal immigrants here, especially the violent ones. But there's a limit to how you should do that. There's the method is the problem. But that's another story as well. Okay, with all that background, let's get into what happened that caused me to want to put this up this morning. I got a post from Sandy. Sandy Aaron is the name. I don't know if it's male or female, but Sandy Aaron. And requesting that I repost the references to the writings that I think were probably written by the man that we know as Jesus. That was not his name. That's not what the Christianity claims about him now, and what Judaism claims about him now is not who this guy was, in my estimation. And I think those who follow me know that's all been obfuscated, and people have stolen different things from different places. For instance, I've said that the Yod-Heh-Vah-Heh was actually stolen by Judeans. Okay. That it was actually originally Egyptian. I talked about that. And Egypt has gotten a bad rap, and I've talked about that in several of my videos. I've talked about the Book of Ani, and the Egyptian Book of the Dead, and the Egyptian Book of Life, etc. Those things. So this man isn't as he's been depicted in either Judaism or in Christianity. He was actually something quite different. What he did and what he accomplished has been lost to agendas, to sophisticate machinations, and to the fog of history. Well, Roy, how can you say that? What is your expertise in this matter? Well, as I said in the book, The Crimson Thread, which describes some of this, my take on it is probably not much better than any other scholar, but it's certainly better than most theologians, okay? At least the popular ones that you hear preaching from the pulpit, okay? It's at least that good, with just as much, if not more, evidence to support it. I'll just say that. So, what Sandy asked me to do is to give that information back out again, and that's what this is. So in the description box are two links. As I said, the first is to Wikipedia. The second is to the actual documents written in English, so you can read them. They are in the Dead Sea Scrolls, but if I gave it to you in the way they were actually written, you wouldn't be able to translate it very easy. So the English is there. It's not perfect, but it's very good. And there's a short explanation in the Bibliotecap link that tells you how those translations came about, who found them, and all that. They are part of the Dead Sea Scrolls. Again, they're not the biblical psalms. They are the Thanksgiving hymns or Thanksgiving psalms that when you read them, if you read them with an open heart and just let what the words are saying come into you, into your heart, it will have a profound effect on you. Pardon me. So, I'm offering them to you again here today. That's all I'm going to say about them. They'll take a little time to go through, but they'll be very, for a Sunday, if you consider Saturday the Sabbath, we passed that, but if you consider Sunday your day of worship or whatever, these are the perfect things to read. You're not going to get the same gobbledygook that you get from your preacher on the pulpit. And that's what most of it is. I'm sorry, but it is. So read these today. Look at that as your sermon for today. And let it sink into your heart. And get to know this man. Okay? That's all I got. I'm not going to do the chat and all that today. I want you to get on that. Sandy, thank you for bringing this up. I wouldn't have done it if you hadn't asked. So if you're watching this, I will post this to X as well. So thanks everybody. And with all that's going on right now, it's all evil. Almost all of it's evil. They're gonna take everything down but themselves. That's the whole idea. I'm not going to get into the who, what, where, when, why, how, or any of that. That's just what I'm saying. Put all that up before. There's a lot of realization who and what these evil devils are being exposed everywhere, and all we need to do is admit it, that they've had us fooled, and they've been killing us off for a millennia or longer. Okay, and they're the same ones, different names, same group. Okay, not going to go into it any further than that. But if we don't stop it, as I've said in my on X and here, how many times, if we don't stop it, and it's being moved by a number of different intelligence communities that are really all one. And of course, you can say, well, the financial people and others that I'm not going to mention here because I don't want to get off the subject. But if we don't do something about this, it's going to be catastrophic. Because once you know, and if you turn away, then you become complicit. Again, that's all I'm going to say. But in regards to all the bad things that are going on, something like this will edify you, lift your spirit, I hope, give you another point of view to concentrate on, not just the bad stuff. And remember to keep your eyes on the horizon, your ears to the ground, and situational awareness on high. Prep, pray, and one of the best advices in the book of Revelation and in other places is don't take part in what you see. Don't think you got to join one side or the other because they're all controlled. Don't go to war for the evil empires. Stay out of the way. All right. That's all I got for you today. I'm going to go back to enjoying my coffee. I'm going to go see some of my kids today. And that's what it's really all about. Thanks, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I have to get up to do that, unfortunately. the way this thing works, so I'm going to get out of my seat. I'm going to disconnect from the internet. And we'll see you next time out here.